Hi, this is a week 5 of the pre-rollout. So let me jump right over to my document camera and jump in and kind of model for you what I do on week 5 of the pre-rollout. All right, so here we go. All right. Well, the first thing we do is first thing we do is we have everyone buddy up. So right there, everyone needs a buddy, right? First thing we do. Everyone needs 2 sheets of paper, a blank sheet of paper, and their 411 sheet of paper, right? The why, the who, the what. Now, if they're new, there you just have them get out, and then when we get to this section, they'll fold that other sheet of paper up, and they're just going to jump in where they're at. All right. So last week, I think Bubba was doing the 3/3. So Bubba's going to come up here, and I've just written it out just to save time. He's gonna, if you're on Zoom, you're his hands, and he just walks you through the whole piece and he explains it the best he can. All right. And so that should take again, a few minutes for him to walk through it. Bubba gets up in front of the group and does that. If you're in person or if you're on Zoom, you're his hands. It's real simple. All right. And then when you're done with that, then you kind of go over to goal part and you go, hey guys, who can do what Bubba just did? And someone, by this point, I found that most people are like, I can do that. And so someone agrees to it. I think who's going to do it? You listen, wait for the pregnant pause. And if somebody says, "Hey, can we do it together?" I've actually seen 2 people do it a few times because they were nervous about getting up in front of everybody. But anyway, Chucky agreed to do it this week. So Chucky, next week, Chucky's going to get up and do the 3/3. All right. So let's jump into this looking back, looking up, this simple pattern of the way we make disciples. And the first thing we do is care. But before we jump into the care, I do want to add just a one little thing to before we do the care. It's called the 3 and 2. We're attempting in these 7 weeks to train you on 3 things, and we're looking for 2 types of people. The 3 things we're training you on, and this is what I want you're going to explain this to your buddy. We're training on a simple pattern of making disciples called the 3/3: looking back, looking up, looking forward. These are the things you do when you want to make a healthy disciple. And the other thing we're training you on is this 411, this new teaching right here, the 411, 4 questions on 1 sheet of paper. So we've been dripping that each week: the why, the who, the what, and the when. And then the other thing we're training on, we want to focus on, which is really important, is a simple gospel tool right here. Is we're training you on the 3 circles. Those are the 3 things we're training on. And guess what? We're looking for 2 types of people. We're looking for those who are willing to train the church on the 411. Who's going to help me with the why, the who, the what? Getting up in front of the church in a few weeks on that Saturday and training them in those 4 components. And I'm also looking for those who are been accomplishing the goals, who been engaging homes and been doing those things. I'm looking for that person too. And then this is a big one. I'm looking for those who are willing to start a group using this simple format. Now, and not all of it might be this. Those are the 2 types of people I'm looking for. Someone's going to help me train the church on the 411 and there's doing the goals, and someone who's willing to start a group on this. So as you go into care, I want you to go, hey, we're training on 3 things and we're looking for 2 types of people. When you're done with that, going back and forth, then I want you to care for each other. Just high and low from your week. If you don't know your buddy, introduce your buddy. So here's our first break right here, guys. And that break should, I don't know, 3 to 4 minutes, maybe max. All right. Then you come out of that, get everyone's attention. All right, now we're going to move into loving accountability. Our accountability last week was very, really basically 2 things. Did you engage 5 homes, knock on 5 doors, ask them how to pray, people on your street? Because you've already been praying on that street for several weeks now. And then did you share the 3 circles with anybody? And that's key. So we're looking for those 2 things. Now, if you didn't do these things, why? Why didn't you do these things? All right. And if this is your first time here, which we're having. We're gaining new people each week, and we're losing people. Just ask them when's the last time they've had a spiritual conversation with anyone, how it went. All right. And then the last thing, if none of those work, I want you to maybe start thinking, asking, do you think you could lead a group in gathering? So there's your loving accountability. Not too complicated. Did you do these two things? 5 homes and share the gospel, the 3 circles with somebody. And if you haven't, why? And then maybe talk about this gather piece. You think that you could gather people and do this simple thing? So here we go. We break right here again. All right. And we do that. All right. Take 3 to 4 minutes with that at the most. And then we come back and just do a simple time of worship. As a group, we read it and we just find out that one is just chock full of attributes of God. Just real simple. What do you observe about God in this passage? What do we learn about him? Also, at this point, after worship, if you want to give that away for next week, hey, who can bring a verse next week for worship? Just one simple verse where we learn something about God. So, all right, Jane agreed to do that. All right, great. Then we break into groups again. I know this seems kind of blocky and we're just trying to get people talking to each other. Okay. And you break into a group again right here and you pray for two people by name, by losses. And that should take probably about 2 minutes. I give that about 2 minutes. All right. And there we go. And we come back and we jump into the new teaching. You get your sheet of paper out and we're going to do the win this week. All right. So at that point, I want you to look at the win training video. It's I finished it today, so you can see how to do that. That doesn't take too long. That's a really quick last question, not nearly as long as the 3 circles. So this is what we do. And if it's someone new, you have them fold a sheet of paper and just do that last question. It would be great if somebody in that group would train them on the why, the who, and the what. That's always, I've seen that happen after class. All right. You come out of that, there's several breaking points in the win point, but we're not going to dive into that. You can watch the video for that. And then, guys, we got to practice, and we're going to practice door engagements again. We're going to role play it. Bring somebody up and do the thing from tip to toe. Knock on the door and go through the whole thing. Knock on the door, introduce yourself, and go through that all the way up to the God where you go, hey, do you mind if I share with you something that's changing my life? They don't have to present the gospel, just getting another rep at how to introduce themselves. All right. Then we set goals for week 6, going into week 6. And so we got Chucky doing 3/3, Jane doing worship, and then 5 more homes. That's everybody, all right. And then we also, if to train somebody on the win, just show the win to somebody. That's all of us. Okay. Really good. Also, at this point, you might want to ask, hey, who would be willing to train the win on that Saturday in a few weeks? Anybody that would be willing to, and I'll send you the video. Find out at this point who wants to do that so you can hand that off very quickly. Then I break into groups and I have them pray over their goals and they go. That is week 5 of the pre-rollout. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, just email me. And that's week 5.